Good evening, everyone, and welcome to BIMP on the Spot. I am your host, Taz, as always, reminding you to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell so that you're notified every time that we go live. We have lots of entertaining videos on Tuesdays with our show T-shirts and Tea Tuesdays, and the show that you're here for tonight, BIMP on the Spot. I would like to remind you all that last week we had an interview with the owner of Twisted Popcorn. Again, that is Twisted without an E and Popcorn with a K. That was an amazing interview, so make sure that you go back and check out that interview. I would also like to remind you all that we have our Harlem Nights event coming up in this October. That's right, that is this October. So make sure that you go to mybimp.com. You can see it to the left or the right, depending on which way you're looking at the screen. You can see it to your left or to your right here, all the way on the far right or on the far left. And make sure that you go ahead and go to mybimp.com to pre-register for that event. Now, as for tonight, we have a friend of the show. He's been on the show before, and he's an extremely important person now, especially since a lot of people are starting to come around to figuring out investing. A lot of people are trying to look at buying houses, especially we're seeing the markets around the country. We're gonna get to it, and we're gonna talk to him about this. ERIC DUNGY, dear friend of mine and a dear friend of the show. He is a founding agent of Compass Tampa, official luxury real estate agent of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and host of the host of the Inside the Headset podcast. Please help us in welcoming to the show, people, ERIC DUNGY. Let's get it.
What's going on, guys? On behalf of Compass Real Estate, this is ERIC DUNGY.
John Fincher. This is a day in the life of the official luxury realtors of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Check us out.
Eric, welcome to the show, man. How you doing? Oh, wait, hold. Go ahead.
Man, thank you, Charles. It feels good to be back. Last time I thought my intro was amazing, and so y'all stepped the game up, made me look even cooler with the video and the sound effects and all the graphics. So, man, it feels good to be back, man. Thanks for having me back on the show.
Hey, man, you know my producer don't play when it comes to it. He come with it every single time. You know what it is. And I got to say this, man. I can't wait till my locks get like yours, man. You just the lot game. You've been killing it. I have to say, man, you're definitely blessed. I need to get mine. I need to stop playing and get mine. Go crazy like that.
I gotta give a shout out to Nicole Washington, who does my hair, man. Appreciate you, girl.
hey, we all got our person. Shout out to him. You know what I'm saying, Drees? You know you be doing your thing on these. I'm gonna be there soon. Time for that retwist. All right. So, hey, now we know that you're a luxury real estate owner. You came on the luxury real estate agent, and we know that you've come on the show before. You talked a little bit about that, but times are very different now than they were back then as far as the market goes. How is Compass, and how have you been dealing with that lately?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I mean, even just from a week or 2 weeks ago, things have started to shift a little bit. I mean, since the pandemic started, so early 2020 up until I'd say 2 months ago, things were on fire. I mean, things were just moving up. I mean, all you heard about was bidding wars and prices going up and people flipping houses and all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And then the last couple of weeks, all of a sudden, we've just started to see things change a little bit. All of a sudden, I've seen price reductions. I've seen homes sitting on the market for a few days. So not to say that the whole real estate market's crashing or anything like that, but we started to see some things shifting a little bit. Basically, I think there's a little bit of downward pressure on the prices, and we may, I can't predict the future, but we may be kind of getting towards the peak of things where for a while it seemed like prices were just going to go up forever and never going to stop. We might be kind of hitting the peak.
And and I've definitely been noticing that. I talked to Grant a couple of weeks ago when we was talking about purchasing his home. He was like, "Dude, it's thick out here." Like we decided. He was like, before we even went to see the home, we was like, "Listen, no matter what we gonna buy it as soon as possible, right?" And we're seeing that a lot. We're seeing that very often, especially as it pertains to when it comes to real estate, especially when it comes to people who want to invest. You're seeing either prices skyrocket and interest rates go down, and it's causing more and more people are in the market to buy. And a lot of people don't know what that looks like to a luxury real estate agent. So I was like, okay, you have real estate agents, you have a luxury real estate agent, and seeing the difference like from the day to day, I thought that it would be perfect to bring you on to talk about this for all those people who want to invest in real estate.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And when you kind of talk about the difference between luxury real estate and just the general real estate, I mean, the main thing that, we want to do at Compass, and what John and my business partner, what we try to do is just educate and advise our clients. So especially, our high end luxury clients, whether they're listing or buying a home, just making them aware, as I said, the market today isn't the market a couple of months ago. Today's price isn't yesterday's price. So if you're trying to sell your home today, you may be thinking, oh, I'm going to get top dollar, and you still could. But to understand that today's price, has changed a little bit from maybe what you heard about a couple of months ago. So the main thing we got to do is just stay in the market, because it's constantly changing, and then educate and advise our clients on making good decisions.
And the market trends that you've been seeing over the last couple of years, obviously you've seen those numbers start to climb, and like you said, you're seeing them start to plateau. How does that affect you, and how does that affect people who want to actually buy a home or use a home or buy a home to invest? And when you're buying a home to invest versus buying a home as a residency, what does the difference look like there?
Yeah, so I'll go to your first kind of question first, and it's a bit of a catch-22, because for a lot of people, maybe the last couple of years they've been trying to buy a home, but because the market's been so competitive, maybe they've been getting outbid, or they just haven't been able to find that right home. Now things are slowing down a little bit. Maybe they're feeling like they're going to have opportunity. Unfortunately, a large reason why things are slowing down is because the interest rates are going up. So now you can probably get a house, but now you can afford less house than you could. Your loan is going to make, your monthly payments are going to go up for the same amount for the same total purchase price. So, there's an opportunity to finally be able to score a win on a purchase that if you've been looking for a while, but you have to make sure that you're still making a smart decision and you can afford the home you're buying, so that you don't end up being house poor, where you're in a home, but now your payments are so tight that you're struggling in other aspects of your life. And then on the investment side of it, yeah, it's all about investing in real estate as your primary residence. There's a little bit of maneuverability as far as there's still part of it is you can't put a measurement on being secure and having a place for your family and being in a place you like. But as an investment, it's all about the numbers. It's all about that return on investment, that ROI. And so kind of the investment side of things, your numbers have changed now. If your interest rate was, say it was at 5%, last, 2 months ago, now maybe it's at 6.5. Obviously that's going to change things, and it's all about the numbers. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, especially when it comes to
exactly.
So again, you may have had a certain price point you were looking for, as far as, all right, I'm going to buy a house at this price point, and I'm expecting, this much to come back every month. And now the same price point on a purchase, you may get less profit because your monthly payments have gone up. So it's just, the market's always changing. You have to always just kind of be on top of things.
And particularly, we have viewers from around the country, but we in Florida have been feeling it kind of heavy lately, especially in the areas of Central Florida, Tampa, surrounding areas like Wesley Chapel. Why do you believe that is?
Yeah, I think for a long time we've been undervalued as an area, as a market. For whatever reason, they're sleeping on us. And then the pandemic happened, and all of a sudden people came down they thought it was going to be a long weekend or a couple of weeks, ended up being down here 6 months, ended up buying a house down here. Yeah. And so over the last couple of years, people are like, wait a second, Tampa's dope. I like Tampa, or Orlando's really cool, or whatever that market is. And so people, the people's incomes within Florida aren't necessarily rising at the same rates that the housing costs are rising. But the challenging part for us is people are coming here from New York, or from Illinois, or from DC, or from Boston, or wherever it may be. They're bringing their incomes from those states, which are typically higher, on average. Maybe they're working from home now, and so they can do their tech job in New York, in California, or they can do their finance job in New York, but they live in Florida, and so their cost of living's not as high. So they're coming down here, and even in the price, and they're kind of keeping our prices going up. So that's been the struggle for a lot of us in Florida. And unfortunately, that may still be the case.
Now, do you expect to see those numbers? Like you said, a lot of people have been sleeping on Florida, and and because of that, you're seeing a lot of people who were born and raised in Florida leaving, and a lot of people from up north coming down here. Do you ever see that changing or flipping back?
I don't know. I mean, it's discouraging for people that are getting kind of forced out of their areas or places they've grown up in. But I don't know when Florida or the South in general is going to become less popular. I believe trends of working from home are going to be here for a while. I think people are going to just continually to appreciate, year-long good weather, appreciate not having, state income tax and some of the other benefits that come with living in Florida. So I don't know what it's going to take and when it's going to be for people to all of a sudden, want to leave here and go back up north or go back out west again. So it could be here to stay.
That warm weather is starting to become a trend. It's hitting a lot of people. It's like, hold up, after the pandemic, it's like, okay, I've been inside for a little minute. Now you go outside, you feel how cold it is, make you want to rethink some things, right?
Yeah, so, I'll tell you a quick story. Yeah, my parents, we moved here in 97. My mom's from Pittsburgh, my dad's from Michigan. They met in Pittsburgh, moved around, did the coaching thing, got to the Bucks, and my mom said, "Oh, hold up now." And she basically told my dad, "I don't care where your career takes you, we are never getting rid of this house." And we've had the same house in Tampa for about 22 years.
Yeah, that's what happens. It's like you feel that warm weather and you realize that warm weather, there's no seasons here, people. You get a light fall and you get a short, like maybe a 3-4 day winter, and then you back on the heat wave again. So a lot of people's like, hey, I'll take that over extreme cold all day. So you're seeing a lot of people starting to flood down to this area here, Texas. People who have it, a lot of people want to go to California now. You're seeing a lot of athletes start to flock to California because you have the bigger markets, you have more endorsements and different things like that in Florida and in Texas. And you're seeing guys sort of, they're coming to Florida because they know, okay, no state income tax. I can come to Florida and make a little bit more money. So you're starting to see a little bit more of a populace. So people don't blame Tom Brady. It's not Tom Brady. Well, it's a little bit of Tom Brady that we're starting to realize how nice people are starting to realize how nice Tampa is. But
that he contributed in the sense that the last couple of years, the sports scene has brought a lot of exposure onto Tampa. I mean, think about all the times that you were in your house watching ESPN, and they did the little backdrop, and they had downtown Tampa in the background, and they had they had Clearwater Beach in the background, talking about, or they had downtown St. Pete talking about the Rays or whatever it was. Yep. So people have been looking at Tampa like, oh, okay, I haven't seen Tampa since I went to, Busch Gardens when I was 5 years old. I'm 30 years old. It's, it's a lot since I've been here. So Tom, the Bucks, the Lightning, the Rays, they've kind of brought some extra exposure over the last couple of years, and it's been good for us, but it's tough on the housing market.
Exactly, and I don't think people realize that plays a big part in it. That the what's located in your city plays a big part in the price that you're going to pay in the market, because you have a lot of people coming in and out, and then eventually, if it's sustainable, what happens is it becomes a tourist attraction. When you look at what Tampa Bay actually is, you look at downtown St. Pete, downtown Tampa, and then you start moving a little bit further up to Orlando. Now Tampa is starting to become a tourist area. So now, that's where the investors come in, where people are starting to buy homes, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, condos and apartments, and they're using them as Airbnbs. So now you have another hurdle to try to get through, because guess what? Investors usually have more money on hand for a property than someone who's actually looking to buy a residential property. So just to sort of educate some people on some of the terms that we use, what is a buyer's market? Explain to the people what a buyer's market is.
So a buyer's market is a market that favors the buyers. So in a buyer's market, there's going to be more homes for sale than there are people to buy the homes. That way, the buyers now have the leverage in negotiations because, hey, there's 2 buyers, just making this up, there's 2 buyers for every 1 house. So when they go to buy the house, they say, hey, I could buy your house, I could buy that house, I don't need your house. So now you have leverage. A seller's market on the inverse is when there's more buyers and there are homes for sale. And then on the flip side, there might be 5 buyers looking at 1 house, and the seller is saying, hey, give me your best offer because it's not you, it's going to be somebody else. So it's all about who has the leverage. And so right now we're still in a seller's market.
And it's before I say this, explain to the people what a seller's market is.
Yeah. So a seller's market is just a market that favors the sellers. So I mean, that's what we're currently in right now, meaning that there's more buyers out there for their homes than there are homes for sale.
And that's and what's huge about that is that there was a time when Tampa originally you could drive from Wesley Chapel to Tampa and you would see a whole lot of trees, and now you're seeing a whole lot of apartment complexes, a whole lot of condos and homes that are being built, right? So when there was a time when the population of Tampa all the way up to Orlando was a little bit smaller. And before, like you said, you had a 2-to-1. Where you had more buyers than what's being sold, or vice versa. But now we have more buyers because people are coming from out of state, adding to the population that we already have here, people who actually need homes. So now that's sort of where the market is flipped. Where now they're building more apartments, but guess what? It's still a seller's market here because more people from out of state are looking at moving here.
Exactly. Like you touched on that. We're Tampa. I've seen different polls, different metrics, but some people say we're the number one relocation market. I've seen 3. But we're one of the top relocation markets, whether we're number 1, number 2, number 3, we're up there. So even though they're building a lot of communities, I mean, yeah, you can drive up and down I-75, you can drive up on State Road 54, 301, you can see all the new home communities coming up, but they can't build them fast enough for the amount of people that are moving here every day.
Exactly. And I know this must be good for you, with Tampa with Tampa Bay coming to light for a lot of people. People are seeing those, no state income taxes. I know for a luxury real estate, for a luxury realtor, for you, it has to be pretty good because now you have more celebrities from across the country, whether it be from retired athletes or retired musicians, retired pro wrestlers. We know a lot of them still live in the Tampa Bay area or are moving back to the Tampa Bay area. So with this area coming to light and becoming more and more popular, how does that help and benefit you?
Yeah, it absolutely does. I mean, like you said, I think Tampa's has become a more desirable market. I mean, I can't speak on this person's name, but I had helped a recording artist find a home in Tampa, and I was like, I didn't know rappers knew about Tampa. Like I'm like, I just in Miami, and LA, and Atlanta. So that's just one example of somebody who's probably been exposed to Tampa recently and saw it as a very good option. And so whether it's musicians, you mentioned wrestlers, there's a lot of wrestlers, athletes, retired athletes, between football, basketball. Golfers, there's just a ton of people, and then also non-athletes, maybe somebody who's in Wall Street or in finance who's coming down from New York and say, hey, I work on a laptop all day, why don't I come down and do this at the beach? Make the same money. So yeah, there's just so many people that are seeing Tampa, and yeah, it's been good for me. The challenging part is just kind of managing the time, and one challenging part about this market that people don't necessarily realize is that time is of the essence. So it's great that the market's hot, but at the same time, when a good house hits sale, you got to go see it right now. You got to go right now, because if you don't, somebody else may. And so I've been doing good this year, but I've been putting the hours in, and I've been haven't been sleeping as much as I would like to, and haven't been having as much social time as I like to. So there's some challenges.
Hey, when it's more business, you on it's grind time. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, Warren Sapp said it. He said, "Listen, we got everything down here. What you want? You want clubs? You want rural? You want we got beaches. Hey, what you want? We got it right here. You don't need to go nowhere. You got it right here." And and people are starting to see that more and more. Since the Tampa area has become more popular, like you said, Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski, all of them coming and making Tampa Bay. And on top of that, let's not discount the Lightning. They're on the cusp of possibly winning three-peating at the Stanley Cup Final. So you have and the Rays went to the World Series. So you have 3 extremely popular markets where now they're getting more TV time, right? And like you said, we played the Super Bowl in Tampa. So having Tom Brady and getting all of that TV time and seeing people actually seeing, okay, Tom Brady likes it there, so why wouldn't I? So that it's and I'm glad you touched on that, where he's like, okay, even though it's a seller's market right now, it's still that we as real estate agents have to be on point and make sure that we don't lose out on business.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like you said, it's a seller's market, but that still doesn't mean that there still are opportunities, but it's all about educating your clients, educating yourself on the market, kind of being mindful of what's going on. That way you can know what opportunities to look for, know what to avoid, and know when there's a chance to make a good play.
And what would your advice be to those who want to sell, who are looking to sell right now in this particular market?
Yeah, I would say it's still a great time to sell, but the most important thing is just to be strategic about your pricing. You're still gonna probably get a good price, probably get top dollar, but just because you've been hearing about things going crazy online or in the media, and you can just get whatever price you want, the last thing you want to do is overprice your home to the point now where you're sitting on the market too long and you're losing your leverage because every day that you're on the market, the buyer sees that as a weakness. So you can still score big and do very well if you're selling right now, but you need to be strategic about your price and make sure you're pricing at a point that's still going to make your home very attractive. That way you can maximize, or you can capitalize, on the seller's market and hopefully get a really good price for your home.
And for those investors who are watching right now, because keep in mind, this is BEMP, Black Heritage Enterprise Marketplace. So considering the name of the business itself, what would you say are the best places if you're looking for an investment property to get one?
Yeah, so I always say to follow the water. So whether that's along the river, along the bay, along the beach, along the lake, I think those are the places that are going to hold its value the most. Right now, you're still probably paying close to top dollar for homes. I don't see scenarios where you're going to be buying foreclosures or buying homes at a very good discount right now because the market's so hot. But as far as long-term holding its value, my recommendation is to follow the water. If you're buying a home along the river, near the water, those are the areas that are going to continue to grow versus maybe some areas that maybe are hot right now that maybe when the market cools off may not hold their value as much. So I prefer to follow the water. You look at, like I said, you look around the beaches, you look around downtown, and that's in Tampa and St. Pete. Even just little neighborhoods that are on canals or on small lakes or ponds. I believe those properties are going to hold its value the most. And kind of one interesting note, I spoke to a gentleman that kind of focuses on Airbnbs. I know those are becoming very popular right now. And he said the most profitable type of home you can buy right now in Tampa is a 4-bedroom home with a pool. So for whatever reason, that's the sweet spot where people are coming down. They're looking for, maybe to bring their family or to bring their friends on vacation. People come to Florida and they expect a pool. So if you have that for Airbnbs, generally speaking, that's going to be the most profitable home type you can purchase.
Yes, and we have a comment here from Nathaniel Yasharala. I'm interested in buying investment homes to rent out. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, so I would say try to find homes that don't have HOAs. That's going to give you the most flexibility. So if you're in a neighborhood that has an HOA, they're going to more often than not, they're going to have restrictions about how often you can rent your home out, and you may have just neighbors that get little irritated. You know how some of those neighbors can be. So I would recommend a single family home with no HOA. That way you don't have anybody telling you what you can and can't do. That way you're able to rent it out, one night a month, 30 nights a month, anywhere in between, and maximize, your return on that investment.
And that's definitely that's huge because HOAs, especially HOAs, are going up too. I don't think people realize that with how much tourism is being added to Florida, prices of HOAs have definitely gone up for people who are looking at buying investment properties in particular. And I don't think people really pay attention to that. And on top of that, I don't think a lot of people realize that Florida itself has become a tourist attraction. It's one of those few states where, I believe Florida, California, and Alaska, the location themselves sort of, it is the tourist attraction. Florida, the sunshine, the weather is the attraction. So people coming down this way, it's like, okay, if there's an Airbnb, it would be great if it was in the heart of Tampa or downtown Tampa. But if I can get something relatively close to Tampa or a relatively 30-minute drive from the beach, hey, I'm cool with that because you're looking at Florida itself, the weather, California, the weather, Alaska. If you're going to Alaska, for something in particular. So it sells itself. So having that understanding, like you said, figure out what it is that people are coming for and what they want. Like you said, hey, when they're coming to Florida, it's like, okay, 4-bedroom and a pool, right? It's like, okay, that gives people a good idea. Okay, so now I know if I may not be in the heart of Tampa, but if I can get something relatively close to it that fits this bill, I can be a good investor.
Absolutely. And you got to kind of put yourself in the shoes of the person that's going to be renting out your property if you're talking about investment real estate. So somebody may be coming to Tampa, maybe they have a work convention because now that we're traveling again, maybe they need to be downtown, but maybe they're willing to be 20 minutes from downtown and take an Uber to their meeting. So if you're able to buy a home in Carrollwood, that's, close to down, maybe or close to 275, it still could be a good investment. And maybe it's a low cost of entry as opposed to buying something in South Tampa, right? So there's still opportunities to invest. You just have to be strategic about it and kind of just put your mind in put your mind in kind of the eyes of the end user and kind of reverse engineer what would make sense as far as what would be a good investment and what would you want to use if you were vacationing in Florida, and kind of put yourself in that mindset.
And I think that's huge. A lot of people look at it from, okay, yeah, I'm a person who lives in Florida. I grew up in Florida. And you look at it from it's Florida. Like you live in Florida. It's like, it's Florida. People from up north want to come to Florida, not realizing why people might be coming to Florida. A lot of times, a lot of big business is coming to Tampa, and a lot of big business is coming to St. Pete. So when you have that understanding of where big business is going, you have to also understand that there will be people that are coming down here for business. There's a lot of real estate, a lot of acreage in Florida that's now being utilized and bought by big businesses to create new buildings, whether it be, for example, New Tampa was that a couple of years ago, where New Tampa, people don't know this, New Tampa 7 years ago was not there, right? So you have people coming in and buying stuff up, and like you have Epperson Lagoon, right?
Yeah.
People are creating tourist attractions to bring in more money. So you have the understanding you can capitalize off of these areas if you know, like you said, follow the water, be close to I-75, Del Babry, 19. Put yourself in positions where you're close enough, but you understand, okay, this could be a good investment because it's close in this area. Wesley Chapel, from Wesley Chapel all the way out to New Tampa, Lutz, and down to downtown Tampa and downtown St. Pete. You can definitely benefit from the market.
Absolutely. Yeah. Your point, like Wesley Chapel, they're creating a reason to go out there. I mean, no offense to Wesley Chapel. When I was in high school, there was not a reason to go out there.
Right.
But now
it was trees and a couple of restaurants.
There's a lagoon. I saw they have their own kind of little shipping container, kind of little plaza, kind of like Spartan Wharf. I forgot the name of it, but there's attractions there now. So now if you were to own property out there, there's reasons why it's a destination. So, they just have to look for opportunities, look for where things are growing. Clearwater, downtown Clearwater hasn't always been the most poppin' place, but they're redoing that area with Imagine Clearwater. So now there's going to be more opportunities there and more desirability in that area. So just being on top of the trend, seeing where things are going, and then kind of just, realizing like what real estate is going to be more valuable in the future than maybe it is right now.
Absolutely. Eric, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. This was awesome. This is something that I've been wanting to talk about on the show for a little minute, because we talk about all different aspects of business. We have all kinds of businesses on here. We have musicians come on, we have athletes come on. Why? Because their bodies or their talents is the business, right? So we talked about all different kinds of businesses from one end of the spectrum to another, and we've had you come on the show before, but the real estate market has changed so much since the last time you came on the show. I'm glad you accepted my invitation to come back on again.
Absolutely, man. Thank you, Taj. Thanks for having me. And if you want to have me back on in a few more months, man, I'll be back. So
hey, we might have to make it a seasonal thing. We might have to get you on once per season to just do like a little expose, tell people about what the market is and what to do and different things like that. We might have to actually make that a thing.
Hey, if the people want it, I'll give it to them.
we gonna have to talk about that. We're gonna make that happen. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the show. That tonight was an excellent episode. Thank you, Eric, for accepting our invitation to come back on. Make sure, remember, you like, subscribe, and comment. Make sure you share, hit that bell, so that you can be notified every time we go live. We have all of our social media handles overhead, and make sure you go to mybimp.com to pre-register for our Harlem Nights event. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and have a great night.
What's going on, guys? On behalf of Compass Real Estate, this is ERIC DUNGY.
John Fincher. This is a day in the life of the official luxury realtors of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Check us out.